It's time to meet the party panel. Tonight, it's Kat Timpf, a reporter at National Review and correspondent on the Greg Gutfeld Show. Yeah, she is. She's nodding in agreement. Mike Baker's here, former CIA officer and president of Diligence, LLC. Book them for your bat mitzvah today. Sure. And comedian Joe DeVito, bearded and ready. Welcome, party panel. Hello. Great to have you all. Joe, Mike, Kat, get into it. It appears as though Donald Trump is taking the intelligence briefings a little bit more seriously now that he's just 2 days away from the presidency. According to a new report, those briefings have been a bit of an eye-opener for the president-elect. In an interview with Axios.com, Trump said, quote, "I've had a lot of briefings that are very, I don't want to say scary because they'll solve the problem. But we have some big enemies out there in this country, and we have some very big enemies, very big, and in some cases, strong enemies." At the same time, though, Trump also admitted he prefers his intel briefings to be just one page and in bullet format. Mike Baker, I don't necessarily fault him for that. Do you think he should be sitting down reading a novel worth of terrifying?
No. The intel that's presented has to be digestible. Look, yeah. and the people that come in, the briefers, they know that. I mean, this is a fairly standard process. People gave the incoming president a lot of stick for, this idea that he wasn't going to pay attention to the briefings, he wasn't going to sit in the briefings. Yeah. To be fair, President Obama has missed a lot of intel briefings. He chose not to attend them for whatever reason. He finds other ways to get that information delivered to him, and every president does. But
now, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
Very quickly, before a primary vote is cast, a lot of these candidates, if they had access to these intel briefings, do you think a lot of them would change their mind about wanting to seek the presidency? Is it that scary?
They wouldn't change their mind about wanting to seek the presidency. There's an ego thing there that I don't think that's going to solve. Yeah. But it would change their tone, and it would change, I think, their vision and what they would say about certain issues related to national security and overseas, our foreign policy. And we've seen that with incoming President Trump. He had that kerfuffle where he thought that, or it appeared to be a battle back and forth with the intel community, just the straightforward idea that maybe the Russians weren't involved in the hacking. He came out of the briefing with the head of the various agencies, and he had obviously changed his tone. And that happens with every president. It happened with President Obama. He came in, again, obviously the reason why, even though he's trying at the last minute to dump prisoners from Gitmo, but why Gitmo's not closed. He came in there, he saw what we were talking about. Yeah. He saw the importance of the drone program, and he actually ramped that up.
He loves the drone program.
Every president comes in and sees it, and they change their attitude.
All right, I guess next in line, as far as importance of what a president-elect can see days before he takes the oath of office, when do you think he learns about the aliens? Do you think he learned about that before you put your hand on the Bible?
I think so. I think we already all know that, it'd be so, I don't know, it'd be so arrogant of us to think that we were the only ones here. Yeah. He might want to deny the aliens because then there might be somebody more powerful than him, whereas he's the most powerful person here.
Interesting.
He wouldn't want the aliens. But what
if they show up like Mars attacks on inauguration?
I don't know if they're good people or bad people. That's the thing. You never know. They could, they could be really nice, and they could think we're too mean, and they'd want to give us our space. But I think they're coming someday.
They could be super nice.
By
they
the way,
could give us, yes.
The alien briefing, that happens on week 2 of the presidency.
Is that true?
But why won't they let them talk to us, the aliens?
All right, Joe.
I think it's, once you hear the truth about lizard people, you're never quite the same. That does change a man. I think it's interesting that people are almost complaining that, oh, he's moderating his positions. Well, if you thought he was Hitler, aren't you glad he's walking things back a little bit?
Yeah.
You shouldn't complain about that.
No, if you gave him a hard time for not taking the intel briefings, and if you gave him a hard time for being so headstrong and forming opinions before having the facts, well, now he's got facts, he's taking the briefings. So.
You can't call him a hypocrite. I think it's good in a way because people who are indecisive, which you can't say Trump he's anything, but he's not indecisive. Yeah. There's people who like data and people like information. And people who are indecisive like a lot of data because then they can constantly go over it without having to make any choices. It's like if your house is on fire and you're sitting around saying, what battery do we put in that smoke detector? Well, you've already missed the point. So I'm just hoping his judgment is better.
Well, we will see. I certainly do see a shift. Quickly, Mike Baker.
Is it data or data?
I think they're interchangeable.
Are there any Star Trek fans?
Yeah, sometimes. Meantime, Fox and Friends co-host Ainsley Earhart just interviewed the president-elect and got him to admit something pretty shocking and frankly hard to believe. Roll it, boys.
I don't like tweeting. I have other things I could be doing. But I get very dishonest media, very dishonest press. And it's my only way that I can counteract. Like, for instance, when John Lewis said, he's never done it before, where he skipped an inauguration. Well, he has. It turned out to be a lie, so I'm able to say that.
That's right. Donald Trump claims he does not like tweeting, something that, according to Twitter, he's done more than 34,000 in the last 8 years, an average of 12 times a day since then. So, Kat, do you buy that he doesn't like tweeting?
He loves tweeting. People say all the time they don't like things that they love, like people who always say, I don't like drama, it just follows me, but they're saying they don't like drama in a Facebook post and then tagging people in it and then fighting in the comments. It's like your actions speak a little bit differently. I don't even like Twitter. Of course he loves Twitter. I love Twitter. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I complain all the time about...
How else would you talk to Rosie O'Donnell?
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying, is I complain, oh, she's being mean, but that was obviously the most fun Saturday I've ever had.
She and Rosie O'Donnell went back and forth about quite a few things, including martial law. Do you think, will Friday bring a change in social media for this incoming president who will not use the POTUS Twitter handle?
Yeah, you know, there's that story of the scorpion on the back of the, frog crossing the river, and the scorpion can't, change its nature. And no, he's not going to change. And you know what? Personally, I'd like to see a little more discipline in the messaging. I think that would be nice, but it's not going to happen. So we move on. And I think that. I get his point, when he says the ability to talk directly to all these people.
Sure.
Right? I mean, I understand the value of it. It's just there's certain self-inflicted wounds, like this supposed battle with the intel community, that didn't need to be played out on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's a learning process for all of us.
Right.
You can tweet about that right now. Joe DeVito, last word.
By the way, spoiler alert on the frog and scorpion story. That's still my Netflix queue. I'd appreciate it. She didn't ruin the endings on these. It goes to show he's doing it for you, America.
That's right.
But it shows what happens when you get what you wanted. You wanted a president with no outside money influencing him, then you got Donald Trump. You say you want a president who speaks honestly and knows how to use social media. This is what we got. We should have asked for different things, I think.
What should we have asked for?
We should have asked for a president with better hair and who knows how to take a step back and not fire out these crazy responses.
I've seen people touch his hair. The hair is real.
But I do it's kind of funny that he settles scores with 10-year-olds. I know it's wrong, but I laugh at it. I'd like, yeah, go get him. Shut that little punk up.
Is it going to be funny when he's actually president?
I guess we'll find out in about 24 hours.
I know. I'm frankly very excited for the chaos.
What do you think? You're excited for the chaos.
I think that he is going to temper his Twitter use slightly. I don't think he's going to use it as robustly as he does now. No, he's not going to have time. I think the job for anyone who comes into it is different and overwhelming.
You should do more Instagram, more selfies.
That's right.
That's what we all want.
Where's Snapchat, bro?
Yeah.
All right, coming up much more with the party panel. President Obama's controversial decision to commute the sentence of military document leaker Chelsea Manning, creating shockwaves all over Washington. Oh, Ariana Grande. I've watched more Sam and Kat than I would like to admit even to myself. If you're a millennial and you find yourself outside and dying, don't worry, you're not alone. In a recent poll in the UK, many of today's young whippersnappers lack the basic outdoor survival skills harnessed by older generations. Most millennials have never been camping, never swam in open water, or used an actual map, or caught their own food. There's an exception to every rule, however, and millennial pop singer Ariana Grande is it. The pint-sized diva has proclaimed herself the hardest-working 23-year-old human being on Earth. Join me once again to discuss the proper methods to be more like Ariana Grande and less like the inept and lazy millennials out there. It's our party panel. Kat Timpf, Mike Baker, and Joe DeVito. Kat, I will start with you. How many days do you think you would survive post-apocalypse?
0.
Okay.
I would die. I've thought many a time that I would be dead without Google Maps. I don't know how people knew where they were going. Even when I go, when New York's not a grid, if I go somewhere like Wall Street or Soho, I don't know where I am. Yeah. How do you know where you are? It's very, very tough. Especially in the cold, though, sometimes the little doohickey messes up, and I am very late to brunch. It is very hard to live a life, being on time to brunch. So post-apocalypse, if I can't even make it to brunch, it might be kind of tough.
I don't know that there's going to be a lot of brunch, per se.
Yeah.
Certainly not bottomless brunch.
But I feel like I know a lot of people who know stuff, so I might be very good at just if I felt like an apocalypse was coming in my heart, to just come to your house or something.
That's probably a good idea because we have survival food, we have
cocktails,
we have masks, we have water packets, we have all sorts of stuff in my house. And a good friend once told me there's a fine line between survivalism and hoarding.
Yeah.
But you live in Idaho.
Yeah,
I mean, you read through this list of basic stuff, you're like, you've never swam in a lake?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, I do, I suppose, in a sense. Look, if you're in an urban environment, you're a kid, you're not going to have that many opportunities to do that, and that's a shame because learning how to, pull your boots up and take care of yourself is a very important thing.
My dad always said you got to bait your own hook.
Yeah, you got to bait your own hook. You got to saddle your own bronc. You got to, and so. Yeah, I look at my boys. That's one of the reasons we moved when they were little tiny kids. We moved from the East Coast out to Idaho because, we want them to know how to do these things.
Yeah,
we want to know what it's like to carry a pocket knife and how to go fishing and how to, hunt and all this. And by the way, one of the first things I learned when I went into the agency in our early days of training was map and compass work. Map and compass work. Simply, how do you use a map and compass?
Good. Nice. Okay, good to know.
Apparently, my map and compass story is not that interesting, huh? All right, never mind.
Ariana Grande.
Well, she said she's the hardest working 23-year-old. I think there's probably a Gambian 23-year-old carrying a bucket of water on her head who would disagree, but she doesn't really. She hasn't
but has that Gambian ever been on a world tour?
These things with the millennials, how they're doing in the wild, they're not doing that great in the air conditioning. So. The problem is the human body, it's the same as we had pretty much as Cro-Magnons, and our fight or flight response is the same.
Anatomically modern humans.
You're getting chased by a saber-toothed tiger or your iPhone battery is low. It doesn't bode well.
No, it's really all the same thing.
Generation
well said.
Eloy.
That's why we all need a Mophie and a Bowie knife. Thank you so much.
A Mophie?
Mophie. It's an external battery for your
I got a Bowie knife.
Yeah,
I'll trade you a Bowie knife for a Mophie.
Yeah. You know what? You're on to something. All right, thanks, Kat. Coming up, anti-establishment is a term that we've been hearing a lot over the past year, but the Sex Pistols made rebelling against the system cool 40 years ago. Punk group's guitarist Steve Jones is here with his own personal history that changed music and the world. That is next.